drama. Chase success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne.
I don't know what happened there. I have no idea what happened. But we're live, right?
We are live.
Christina, yeah, welcome. Let me have a look at my LinkedIn. Let me see if we're live. Yeah, well, we're live on my YouTube. So let me make sure. Let me see if we're live. If we're live also on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn was playing up earlier today. I wonder. Come on, LinkedIn. Let's see. LinkedIn's a bit slow today. Why are you so slow, LinkedIn? Anyway, how are you, Christina?
I'm good.
Yay. You know, this our second event back, right? Our second event. You know, the year is going, Christina. The year is going past us very quickly.
I know, that's why when people make plans for Q1 and Q2, there is a reason for all that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think the plans you don't make. I think the plans you don't make in Q1 and Q2, they're not going to get done. Say I'm packing everything into now to say what I'm going to do. And then start doing them. I think the longer we leave it, the less chance of us actually getting it done this year. The year goes so quick, right?
Exactly, and everything you don't schedule or you don't plan for really doesn't happen.
Yeah. Now you and I were just talking about. So we just talking about a new workshop. I'm saying now we've talked about it. Start putting the steps in. Then it's going to happen this side.
Exactly.
End of Q1, rather than it never happens. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Where are our friends? I can't see any comments. All you that wanted to be early.
Liana is here. Hi, Liana. She joined us. Happy Martin Luther King Day. She's saying today is Martin Luther King Day, and we can get started though.
Yeah, you're moving on my LinkedIn, so my LinkedIn seems to be working fine. It takes getting used to. Okay, so what's our topic today, Christina?
So our topic today is getting positioned to be chosen and building organic leads right out of LinkedIn without ads. So I'll start with these. 2025 has seen some interesting changes to the way LinkedIn actually works. And probably a lot of people that are coming in today here in our audience noticed, their visibility dropping, impression numbers dropping, and maybe even if they were not really noticing what was going on with their own account, one thing that I think everybody noticed was the posts. The posts that were going on saying, LinkedIn doesn't work anymore, we are all invisible, it's not a good platform to do business anymore. And I just want to say that's not what was happening, right? What was happening is that the platform itself was making some changes.
Yes, you were still making money. I was still making money. It's not about money; it's about helping people. So we're still helping people, and they were paying us for the work we do, right?
Exactly. And so that's why everybody panicked. In order to really understand, what happened, especially towards the end of 2025 and what's happening now, we really have to understand why LinkedIn did what they did, right? And so there are a couple of philosophy. LinkedIn is now pay to play. So unless you're paying for ads, you're not going to be able to do business. And together with that is the panic message that your network is no longer viable. And it's not that your network is no longer viable, is that now you have to cultivate actively your network. And what LinkedIn did they use the large language model to make sense of all these accounts and all what people are doing, what people really want to see on LinkedIn. So now your profile as a role in connection with your content. So your profile and your content, they have to match for these large language models to read and understanding and figuring out who your who's gonna see your content. You know, who are those members, those LinkedIn members that want to see their content on their feed. And
Mm.
that's not something new at all. Instagram works like that. TikTok works like that. With those, we call them for you pages. So LinkedIn wanted to be more of a for you page in terms of delivering the right content to people that wanted it. They wanted to see it. But by doing that, what's happening is that they're not necessarily showing it to the people you're connected to that are following you, unless people are clicking on the double bell to get notifications and all that. So we just have to be aware of it and being better. I think what this did, it made me better at actually looking at who's following me, who looked at my profile, who's coming to our events, and trying to meet them, saying hello, sending a message, right? Uh, instead of waiting for my post or my ad to generate some kind of action from the person that is reading it. You get those two, you know, you get people's attention with what you're writing and what you're posting, but it's not the same as noticing that somebody is looking, noticing that somebody's there, noticing that somebody has been supporting you a few times and saying thank you, saying hello, let's meet. What do you do? This is what I do, right? So that's networking 101. But we've been spoiled, when I say 2001, 2021, 22, 23. We there were we've been spoiled with our content being shown everywhere, everywhere to those that were following us, and now we cannot rely on that the thing in autopilot. We have to cultivate our network a little bit more purposely.
Yeah, but it's always been this way. Say Facebook were the first to go there. When they said on Facebook, you'd be lucky if 2% of your followers see your post.
Hmm.
2%. That's two people out of 100 on Facebook that you connected with might see your post. That's a real pay to play. On LinkedIn, so LinkedIn does better. LinkedIn's been more generous, like you say. I can accept that. But I don't think this is a big change for us to be worried about. I think it's the way social media has to be, right? If we think of the logistics, I'm not trying to excuse LinkedIn's behavior because I've always paid LinkedIn for premium, for example. If you think of a platform like LinkedIn, all of us have thousands of followers. We have thousands of subscribers, of connections. Do we really expect to be top of their feed all the time? No, of course not. And how does a platform like LinkedIn work out who to show on any's feed? Not that I ever look at it, by the way, in case you're wondering, everyone. I don't look at my feed. I'm not interested in posts. If you hate me, it's fine. I can take it. But it's not about you and me. Just I can't got time. I can't afford to get lost in posts that are pointless to me, right?
Hmm.
And all posts are pointless to me. I'm saying and I can see why LinkedIn is essentially saying we will show your post only where it's relevant, super relevant to the people that are going to see it. Yeah. Of course, there's ways that we can get around this problem. You say, so people send me the link to their post every day. I'm like, thanks. Another one I have to go and comment on, and I'm not interested. But I think there's a knock-on effect too, Christina, where the posts that you engage with, you're going to see more of. Right. Be
Yes,
careful. Be
engagement.
careful. be careful what you comment on. Be careful what you like. Don't just flippantly click away.
Mhm.
Laugh. Don't do that because you're gonna see some ropey stuff which you don't want to see. Let's welcome our friends and let's get into our positioning conversation. I think it's an important one for us because it's part of the conversation we're having now, right?
Yes.
But who are you? How do you want to be seen and all that? So Liana, welcome. How you doing? Jason, good to see you. Americans Martin Luther King Day. Oh, well, happy Martin Luther King Day. It's such a strange thing to say. Valerie, great to have you here. I don't think I've seen you before. I might have done. If I have, forgive me. My memory's not as good as it was. That's my excuse anyway, right? I'm glad you're here. Prue. No, Prue is my very good friend. And she sells a medical service, a medical platform that's health organizations need around the world. Prue, what happened to our meeting on Friday, Prue? I'm so upset, Prue. Anyway, I was here. Yes, I'm coming to your networking event on Wednesday, Prue. It's fine. I see you too, Linda. Welcome. You're welcome to come in the studio and share. Not that I've shared the link so far. Yolanda, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. So Mr. Cyrus is here as well. Welcome. Sugar Daddy Kenny, I don't call him that. Other people call him that. So I'm merely just saying the obvious. How you doing, Kenny? Good to see you, obviously, my friend. Thanks for joining us. The Christy was supporting. Welcome. If I've missed you, don't worry, Pro. I forgive you. It's fine. Things happen, right? Things happen. But we have to rearrange. We need to talk. So, look, welcome all of you. So, if you want to join the studio to share, so just you can put in the chat here. Send me the link, please, or you can put in the chat here. Send me the link. If you send me a DM, I'm not going to get it because I'm here, right? I'm looking at the screen. This screen. And I'm going to put the link to join the studio in the comments section of the event page. So if you have to, then you can go there and get the link. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Let's kick off in earnest, right? And then let's get talking. Back to you, Christina.
All right. So, for those of you that are just joining in, we were talking about the panic effect that was going on when we saw all those posts talking about I lost my visibility. Nobody sees my what I post anymore, and all those things. So I think, and at least for me and the clients that I work with, this caused a reflection moment and a pause. Even if things were going pretty good, like you were saying, you were doing business, I was doing business. The reflection was, okay, so what's going on exactly? No, let's not panic. What is everybody talking about? And if everybody that I was talking to, we were guilty of the same thing. When was the last time we did anything to our profiles? Years ago, right? Still have to change my picture. Got an haircut. I need to change my photo there. It was like years ago. And when was the last time you refreshed your headline? Oh, I did that last year, like a year and a half ago, right? So we didn't think it was important to keep updating our profiles. They became, even the ones that were really beautiful and well done, they became a little bit of a static landing page and web page. So, we knew that that's what it looks like when they land and they look at it. That's what they'll see, etc., etc. And some people that I worked with, and also myself, I did a lot of revisions, little revisions, not massively to my profile. Sometimes because we are so used to leveraging our network and actually getting in conversations with people, we didn't realize that there are some things that are lacking, in our profile. Maybe a clear direction on how do I contact this person. Something that says I do discovery calls, for example, or some social proof, maybe some reviews from previous clients, right? Do I have a service page or maybe I don't have a service page. I don't need it because I have a landing page somewhere else. Some people were saying, and well, now it is precious real estate. You really cannot leave it empty. Uh, you have been on LinkedIn for a long time, and I've been on LinkedIn for quite a while. Probably we could go on, just by connecting with people, looking at our network, and doing what always worked. What always worked is actually talking to people. Inviting them to events when we're speaking, really getting to know them. But why not, after we took a pause and understood what this panic and everything was all about, why not learning how to leverage this change? What is everybody talking about? What is this fitting? So I did a few changes to my profile, and I encourage my clients to do a few changes to their profile just to notice how the feed actually shifts, to notice as a consumer, am I seeing what I want to see? And as a business person, I'm hoping that people see me where they want to see me, right? Where they don't scroll in the morning and they say, oh, it's Sarah again. Let me say, tell LinkedIn I don't want to see this. So we have control over this. We really do. And, the control is in the words that we choose on our headlines, and not just putting them there and forget about it, but just consciously using that also in the contents that we generate, right? So even if you just do events, those words should be the first words in the line of your event to generate that level, that relevancy. If you do a newsletter, make sure that you're using those words when you post the newsletter, deliberately. If you do a post, same thing. And that's the first piece of real estate, the headline. Then we have, of course, the about page. So now the about page, I keep revising mine, I'll confess, because I really believe in perfecting it. But, when I first started, the about page was about kind of like my mini summary of my resume, what I do, uh, what qualifications do I have, etc., etc. Over time, it changed. I now try it, I want it to be about the transformation that I offer, or about the person that is seeking, my help. So I try to make it about that, about, what I do, but more, what about the transformation, more about what happens to you, with the work that I do as a result of the work that I do. So, and then there is other things like the service page, some people love it, some people hate it. I have a love and hate relationship with the service page. One, because a reader cannot make it look as pretty as I would like to. And two, because sometimes it gets glitchy. And for example, there is where LinkedIn needs to still do some work with their feed, because when I see other people that are in the kind of like in the similar industry of where I am, or do similar things to what I do, we're really mismatched. I mean, what they're doing is not what I'm doing, so I don't know why we appear in the same category. And also, when you do the pay to play, and when you do LinkedIn Navigator and all that, you have access to the service requests of other people. So, but I like to have it. The function for me, the real function of the service page is that I ask my clients to review me there. And I like that because, again, it's searchable. It appears on searches, and it's right there. It's something about you that somebody else is saying. Somebody else is describing their experience. So that's the main thing. And every now and then I'll put some photos and some media there. But then, I'll confess again, for the longest time, I left it static. A lot of us did. So, but I see the benefit. I still get service requests through the service page. Um, a little word of warning: if you don't curate it, if you don't repost it, it will kind of go dormant. So I've noticed that if I do some changes to my service page, if I'm posting about it, or if I'm posting a review of one of my clients that I received through my service page, that's when my visibility goes up. And actually, you know, I want to say 1 out of 5 times somebody will say, I just read this review, let's talk. So there is a function to the service page, but it's not the one that I expected when I first opened my service page. What I expected is for somebody to index me, find me, and connect and request my services. So that was not the function, but it's still a very good function. And then there's all the other things that we think, should I say this? Now I'm owning my business now. What about all these other things about, where I worked before, and my jobs and my educations and my certifications, and any publications I might have. So again, I confess, for the longest time, I left a lot of those things, blank and static and really basic. Uh, and I noticed that when I do make some changes there, and when I prompt people I work with to make some changes there, things happen. There is almost like an alarm clock that goes off. So things happen there, and it's all about words. Words are a wonderful thing. uh, you're always taught to be mindful of the words you use. Again, in this, if you have a certification, if you took a certification, uh, add something to it, right? It makes you, LinkedIn prompts you to say, okay, where did you apply what you learned, and in what role, in what position? And you can really more molded to where now it becomes an enhancement to what it is that you're trying to do and who it is that you're trying to reach. So, in other words, if you go step by step throughout all of your profile, even if it doesn't look fancy, done by web designer, or even if you do it yourself, just be mindful of the words you're using there, so that they can be words that can be discovered, not because they're looking for you as a doctor or a business coach, but they're looking for the solution. So try to have in there words that describe the solution, because sometimes people will look you up as the title that you think you should hold. But most of the time, people that are searching on LinkedIn, on Google, or using AI, they're searching for what they need. So, in order to get positioned, one, we have to be really clear on what it is that we are producing that people need, what this transformation is. And two, we have to place it strategically on the profile, strategically refresh the profile periodically with these words that we are using. Because sometimes we don't use the same words. Sometimes, we change and we use other words, or we get attached to a different description of who we are and what we do. And make sure that they're the same that we are using when we create an event, when we write an article, we have a newsletter going out, or when we decide to do a post, when we make comments, especially. So now everybody's starting, and it was mentioned that earlier, comment, be careful where you comment, and where you engage, and your reactions, right? It's true. I mean, you can engage, react, love, and like, to be supportive, but might not be really related to what you're doing. And that's okay. I think as a human being, that part of us should still exist. But now, if you're engaging because it's a strategy, and everybody's using it as a strategy, so it's good to find those creators, small or big, that are discussing topics where you actually have something to say, where you actually can offer a point of view, And if you do make a comment, it really represents you, really positions, without having to, to steal the spotlight out of this other person's content, but actually genuinely uh, engaging, providing value. So that's, I think, the power of commenting. I haven't commented a lot for this very reason. When I comment, I want it to be really, really relevant. So before you go crazy doing I saw somebody posting, somebody that went to one of those LinkedIn Elite retreats, posting uh, 250 comments a week. That's what you have to do to get super visibility and impressions. Yes, but and then here is how to generate them all with AI. Really, will it give you impressions? Yes. But will it give you the right people that you want to have a conversation with? And will they decide to follow you and look you up because they really like something that you said? And then you don't even remember what you said once they contact you. So to me, the best thing that I can do to generate business for myself is to comment really where I want to comment, really when I have something to say, to engage really when I think that I feel that there is alignment. Because when the person says, even a week from now, oh, I did see your message, I didn't have a chance to reply, or you did comment on, I don't know, Mel Robbins' posts, right? Somebody well known. I'll know what it is because I'll know that I didn't go and produce 250 AI comments and just try to put them there. And breaking news. When you do that, you can not you notice those right away because most of those comments are a short summary of what the post is. Oh, this resonates so much, and then it's a summary of the actual post. That's really not a comment. That's just putting a verbiage there, language there, to try to pump up your impressions. And people that read it and they're really considering you as somebody that they want to work with, as somebody that they want to connect with, and they want to engage with, they'll see it. Yeah, they'll look at your profile, they generate an impression with it's really a millisecond of somebody clicking on your profile for a second. But if you want to really build organic leads without ads, you have to do things that are relevant. So it's not just relevancy for LinkedIn to show you on somebody else's feed, but it's also relevancy for you to actually start talking to people because they're interested in the topic. So if somebody's interested in this topic today, they will be at this event. So as simple as that. That's clearly they're here, they're listening because there is an interest in this topic. Otherwise, they might, if they're not here just to show presence or, because they think that coming to Annie's event is going to give impressions. So this is as organic as it gets. And then there is a such thing as living after you get positioned, right? Because you're explaining how you do something uniquely your way, and you have it all over your profile, and you keep talking about it and you keep writing about it, doing posts or collaborate with people and going on lives discussing the whole thing, uh, and people react. Are you paying attention to those reactions, right? Is somebody not only supports you today, but is repeatedly supporting you and repeatedly coming to events? Are you paying attention to that, or just forgetting and then wondering, how come I'm not generating business and monetizing my brand out of what I'm doing? So instead of wondering, is really make a plan a little bit. Think about, how am I going to engage with those that are interested in the transformation that I do offer. So the call of action is here. Uh, network, like network is supposed to be functioning. If somebody is coming to an event, make a note of it. talk to the person. It doesn't mean that because Kenneth Danner is here is going to become my client, right? It just means, who do you know that I should know, for example, or perhaps somebody that is been around, in conversations with you for the last 2 3 years. Maybe you just end up having a coffee chat, and you decide to do something together, to work together, to join forces, to bring value to the community. Generating organic leads is not about buying ads so that your post now is shown to everybody on LinkedIn because you're paying for it. Generating organic leads, the old fashioned way to do what still works, means actually having conversations with people, listening and paying attention whether what you're doing is landing or is going dormant. If you think that you're doing creating the best posts ever, the best videos ever, the best newsletters ever, and nobody's seeing them, and you're getting naturally very frustrated, with your positioning and why LinkedIn is not showing your content. Now it's time to take two approaches, right? The first approach is a manual approach, actually looking at the last 100 people that connected with you and point them to your content if it's relevant. So actually look at their profile, don't spam them, and say, okay, this person connected with me because there is some alignment here, or just sending a message to say, hey, we connected. What do we have in common? Where do we have something that is relevant and related? And before you even do that, if you really think that there is something there, I would say that's the content and the account and the LinkedIn member you should engage with. So if you look at your followers list and you look at the last 100 people that followed you, perhaps it's time to see why they might have followed you, to see what they're doing, what they're posting, what they're saying, and if it's relevant, engage with their content. And then, if the time is right, if it makes sense, because it won't always make sense, right? Start a conversation, invite them to your next event, invite them to book a call with you, to see what's going on, and if there is, it could be if there is something I can do for you, or it could be simply who should I know that or how can we do some, there are people that might be interested in what I do, or it could be somebody that I have people that are actually interested in what you do. And it doesn't have to be, because we are in the same aligned industry. It could be that, the person does something completely different than what you're doing. So somebody that does something completely different than what I'm doing, for example, is somebody that takes care of, nutrition and well-being and fitness, right? It doesn't mean that I don't know people that I think they actually need this person's services and that I can refer. As a matter of fact, there are people that I hear that I've seen for years coming to events, and I know of them and I know of what they do. And sometimes I might be a silent browser reading their content, or I know people that are now my client that I work with them. So I never talk to them, but I know they've earned my trust in some other ways. And I find myself when somebody says, I need help with this health issue, saying, I know of someone, and I usually point them in that direction. And I do that even if I never talk to them, because I've seen enough of their content and I heard enough good things about them from somebody else casually at an event or during a conversation that built that passive trust. And I know that mentioning their name is not going to be a blind referral, because I was paying attention. I might not have gotten on a call with this person because I didn't in particular need those services myself, but I've seen enough and I heard enough good things. And so that's all organic, old fashioned, natural networking, people that say your name when you're not there. That's what's always been working and will always work. Now, the advantage point is LinkedIn is doing this other thing. LinkedIn is doing these relevancy things on their own. Really try to understand how that works and what it means for your post and your content. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not because you heard this today and you're taking notes and tomorrow you start looking at your profile and you'll start posting differently that all of a sudden everything is going to skyrocket. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take, I want to say realistically, a good 90 days of you things consistently for the large language models to really understand and that's the category where you want to be positioned. And he said, and I want to say this again, that's the category where you want to be positioned. So you do have control over this, but you have to do things on purpose and deliberately. So I'm going to take a little pause. Annie, do you want to add anything? See who's in the audience that joined us.
There's many things I want to add. So Paulette is here. Hey, Paulette, how are you? So let me work. Let me welcome our friends, and then I'll come to you, Paulette. I said, Americo, welcome. Glad you're here. He says, be careful when buying Post Boost. Never pay. Don't buy Post Boost. That's me. I'm just saying. I'm giving you my point of view, right? Christine, I see Christina doing everything. So she doesn't boost a post like that, But Christina's everywhere. Newsletter, Christina's there. Do this. Christina's doing it. I'm like, Christina, you do so many things. Maybe I'm lazy, right? Maybe I'm lazy. Maybe I'm just a lazy person.
You have to batch what you do. It doesn't mean that I'm doing that all day long every day.
No, but I used to post regularly. I used to post every day, right? I made it a habit to post every day. Now I just think, what's the point? I'm not bothered. I don't, because it doesn't
I'll answer
serve.
the question.
Go on. You answer the question.
So, the reality is this: your posts are not getting as much visibility as your comments, right? So I have people saying, "Oh, I don't post anymore. I just comment now." And my question to them is, are you getting any business out of your comments? Not really. I'm doing them all with AI, right? But I
See,
get a lot of impressions, and
you
that's
see,
you cannot take this to the bank, right?
see, I didn't say that. I don't
Uh,
comment unless I have to. Unless someone sends me a post. Unless it's Paulette, Lisa. I say unless someone I care about. I don't. I'm not. I don't play the game. You see, I have a
it's
different
alone.
idea. I have a different idea. It's not a different idea. I got an idea that works alongside what you're saying. You have to look right on LinkedIn. You have to complete your profile. Make sure your profile is on point. Make sure that you give LinkedIn enough signs, enough keywords to use to show your profile to someone's looking for you. I get all that. But when I say, I was talking about personal branding this morning in Eric's room, and my thinking is quite simply, we have to do what we say we do. Well, we have to serve people. There's no point saying I'm a business coach and you don't serve anyone. You don't coach anyone, right? You have to do what you say you do. I publish books. I have to publish books. I have to be seen publishing books. I have to have people whose books I've published speak up. I'm saying I'd rather the personal side, the networking side, as you mentioned, rather than the technical side. That's just my point of view. But let's hear from Paulette. I haven't worked on everyone. Cyrus, of course, I see you. Who's this? Who's this? Mr. Omar, glad you're here. Look, so if you're on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff if you haven't done this already. Dr. Lisa is here as well. I saw you earlier. Yeah, there's Dr. Lisa. Great to see you. Levine, I see you too. Welcome. Paulette, talk to us. You're the LinkedIn queen, and if in case everyone doesn't know that, they know that already. How do you do position?
You always give us these weird titles, but thank you. I don't think it's justified, but thank you. I'm a bit gravelly, so I do apologise. I haven't been on the whiskey. It's just a bit throaty. I think the most important thing that Christina has said, and I couldn't agree more with, is it's about being genuine. I'm not going to use authentic because I hate that word now. It's been used, overused, and it's been, to my word, trampled on, right? So what used to be a word that we could stand by, which we would see as a level, which we would all look to achieve, that word's been done to death. So what I call the word now is genuine. So if you are genuine, if you are who you say you are, if you stand by your principles, if you say, I'm a vegetarian, and then you post a picture of yourself, tucking into a steak, then you're going to get caught out, right? And so my point is, don't say you're one thing and be something else. Don't say you have these skills when you don't have them. Don't portray yourself um as a leader when you couldn't put a lead on a dog. You know, the point is, I really find there are so many people who believe their own, I'm not going to swear, their own BS, right? They've bought into their own story. Like they're the head of the story, the main character. They carry out all these roles as this main character. They shooting out, success from every fingertip. Everything they touch turns to gold, and follow me. I am the next whatever. And I just go delete, follow, pass through, ignore, whatever, right? Because to me, the quieter you are about your skills, the more action you take, and the less of this. I see that as being genuine. I spot that, I see that, and I go, ah, that's the kind of person I want to work with. The people who are putting out hundreds of posts, who are literally, as you just mentioned, using AI for absolutely everything, bar going to the loo. I mean, they literally are. And the point is, we know it, we can see it, we read it, and we go, oh, that post wasn't written by you, because that post was written by AI, and your post the next day that was written by you hasn't even got decent grammar, right? So you can see the difference. And I'm kind of playing this spot the difference game and going, who are you? Will the real you please stand up? Because I don't know who you are. So I think if I've got any value to add here, it's please be genuine. Please be who you say you are. If you've done 10 years in accounts management, then let's see the evidence of that. Let's see the references saying that. Let's actually be able to look it up and believe it. Now, I've been involved in some stuff where people have been accused of all kinds of stuff. And afterwards, retrospectively, I've gone, yeah, but you know what? It's on you for not doing your research. If you didn't do your research, then that's on you. Don't that recommendation. You recommend someone, it's on you. No, you can recommend someone. You can point someone in a direction and say, I think they might be your person, but please do your research. You shouldn't have to say that. It should be, I'm about to spend money, right? You don't just spend money. Oh, Christina said so. Poof, chuck the money in the air. Any said so, chuck the money in the air. You go check them out. You go to their store. You check out what they're selling. You see how well they've been selling it. You see who else they've been selling it to. Then you make a commitment. I just think there's an awful lot of, there's an old fashioned word called schmutter, which means tosh, rubbish, and I know that I'm probably very outspoken, but that's the truth, there is. And you have to kind of fight through the mire to get to the good stuff. And you shouldn't have to do that. So yeah, rely on recommendations, rely on people pointing you in direction, but then do your research. then it's on you. Don't then go back to Christina and say, you recommended this person and they turned out to be a right load of. That's not on Christina. She just read and heard some good stuff and pointed you in the direction. If any says this person can sort you out, go talk to them, great, go talk to them. But it doesn't mean you've got to write a £5,000 or $5,000 check that day. Go talk to them. Have a chat. And I think that the 30-minute conversations that we used to always recommend to people, go talk to people, go talk to people. I am guilty of being well behind because of illness, but at least I've got a genuine reason, right? What's everyone else's reason? You know, there's thousands of them, I'm sure, in their.
It depends on what day you ask. If you ask on a day that you're trying to convert them into customers, they'll give you all sorts of reasons. The cat died, the house
You know
burned
what?
down,
That's
parents
not the
ill.
day you should be having the chat, is it? Let's be honest. You know, if you haven't
It's
built
a
the
weird-
you haven't built up that reputation, had the conversations, got to know each other, then you ain't going to get the business anyway. So, you know, the 30-minute call is the test drive of the car, you know? And that's how I see it. You have to have that connection, that chemistry, that feeling of something. And I don't even know how to describe the feeling, but I know what I mean when I say it, and I'm sure you all do. And if you don't get that connection, run, bye, and go find somebody you have it with. So I don't know whether I put the cat amongst the pigeons, but I felt that that was the key that I can bring, which is every post, everything I follow, everything I promote, you can follow me from start to finish, and you cannot say that I am not exactly who I say I am. And that for me means everything. And I don't care who comes to the party and says differently, everybody else would stand up and say, you're wrong, you know? So there'll always be one Judas because there always has to be. But you know, that's fine. We'll have a Judas. But the point is, you know, 99.9% of people would say, yeah, that person is who you say they are. And so that is what's important. Be you. And if you aren't good enough, AI isn't going to make you a better you. It's just going to give you a plastic version of you. I'll shut up now.
Sometimes AI changes your picture. You suddenly look like someone else. I'm like, what the hell? Oh, it's anyway. It's so frustrating. But I try not to get too involved. Anyway, you make good points, Paulette. I think it is is a personal bit, it's a humanity bit that is missing. That's what brings people to you, really. Again, I said this morning. You think people buy your service? They want your solution. Don't get me wrong, right? So you have to be at least good at that. Do that really, really well every time, right? If you make mistakes, that's I'm saying. We'll make mistakes. We'll start somewhere and we learn. But deliver your service first class. And then so when you do that, from there after that, it's all about like you said, meeting people, talking to people, talk to them, meet them, talk to them, But I think that comes with a different mindset, Christina. It comes with the mindset of I want to be your friend, and I think at the very least, maybe you should approach those conversations, as Paulette said, with I want to be your doctor. In other words, I don't want to suggest my service unless it's relevant to you. Back to where we started up from today, Christina. Right? Don't talk to people and suggest they buy from you if you don't know you can help them. That just leads to a problem because when they put their faith in you and they pay you and you don't help them, you're in trouble. And whose fault is that? I say now, yes, Paul, we can argue all day, you and I. Whose fault is this? Is it my fault for not checking? That person was qualified and but how would I know? And is it my fault? Is it your fault for saying you do X when you're just open to trying? I must be very good at what you do, but I agree with you 100%, Paul. Be who you say you are. Yeah, don't be one thing today and something else tomorrow. Be that person all the time. People remember, right? They remember. They see you here. They see you there. They remember what you said here and there. Again, so I'll stop on this, Christina. So many people don't realize that in these events we talk a lot. But if you unpick what we say, we say each of us says the same thing over and over and over. We just hope you hear us. We just find different ways of saying it in different rooms. That's all it is. And so that's a much better idea to know who Christina is, who Paulette is, who Annie is, because we're consistent in what we say.
Your microphone, Annie.
Annie, you went on mute.
I said I'm going to stop talking. So, and that was that. I stopped myself talking. Christina, I say, continue the points.
Yeah, I wanted to actually touch on some of the things that Paulette said, right? So, I think in the audience and people that will replay this, I think who we have attracted here it's either somebody that is starting out or somebody that is now at the point of scaling, has been doing it for a while, and they're looking for positioning and organic leads and all that. So you have to get there. You're not gonna get there because all of a sudden you're putting out all these AI content, or you're not genuine. Not necessarily you're not genuine because you're trying to deceive somebody, but because you think you have to look a certain way, or you have to present a certain facade to the place of business, right, for people to actually come in. So even if what it is that you do or you can offer at the beginning, it's really a smaller version of what you envision, but you know how to do this thing, and you can help somebody with this thing. That too should be the one offer you are promoting. The one offer that is going to be the door opener, and people are going to start, getting to know you for. So that's really important, because the thing is, if you help somebody with that thing that you do really well, without too much glitter or frills, and what happens is that you produce a result, you actually will feel good about yourself. The person that you supported will feel good about the result that they have achieved. And not only they will say good things about you, but also you will feel so much better about you that you will naturally evolve into the next step of what you're doing and what you're building. About this also, working when somebody trusts you enough, to say, okay, I'm going to pay for your services. It's not like, yeah, I got somebody. No, it's a privilege. Now, the work begins, and you have a responsibility to deliver this transformation. Also, this is, the business of working for yourself, building your own practice. If we're talking mostly about service businesses here, or consulting. So you want to have a good experience. You want to be happy when, on Wednesday or Thursday, you have a call with your client, that signed up for a long program with you. So if you are, at a point where, oh no, I have to meet with this client. I mean, why are you doing this? You just bought yourself a job that you don't like. So you want to, as a person that is conducting business here, you want to make sure that you have found the right person to work with, because you're going to be happy. You're going to be able to deliver the transformation that you're seeking. And you're also building and cultivating a longer term relationship. It's not just they signed up for the 4-week or 5 weeks program, or they signed up to work with you, for 12 calls or something. It's what happens afterwards. Are they actually going to tell somebody, when I was growing, I worked with this person, and, it meant everything to me. It really got me to my next level. Or are they going to say, don't spend your money doing these, because just do it yourself, because it's really not going to be good for you. It's just a waste of time. And I had a client that told me that with all the money that they paid consultants and coaches, uh, they actually could have opened up a business and hired them all and paid them salaries, right? In other words, it was the way to say that it didn't work out. It was a waste of time. They didn't understand my brand and all that. And the conversation with this particular person started a year ago. So a year ago, I heard what happened to them, and did try to support with some of my resources, pointing them out in the right direction. It wasn't until a year that this person, uh, you know, honored me with the privilege of me becoming their coach. So it's something that you earn. It's a trust, and I'll confess, that's when you talk to somebody and they tell you that all they had was bad experiences, you get a little nervous. Am I going to be able to deliver with this person? And when you get on those call, or the second or the third call, and you're just thrilled that you're there because you can feel the transformation happening in the air, uh, you know, that this was relevant. This was a match. So, as somebody that is providing a service to somebody else, just remember, one, it is a privilege. You definitely have to earn it, and you have to deliver. You're not here to provide an AI script and here, these are the steps. Go ahead and do them. So just know that. And Pauletta also mentioned references, right? Show me the proof. Where is the proof? And that's when we go back to our LinkedIn profile. We have those references. Let's put them there. We have reviews, good reviews, people that actually are on LinkedIn and they're saying something about you. And if somebody has a question, oh, I see you worked with this person. Anything that you want to add? I'm trying to determine if I want to do business with them or not. So that's the real social proof, not necessarily the posting and the boasting about what you do. About posting, if you post something that you mean. So when I do a post, sometimes it would be about, transformation that I deliver, or some other times it would be a storytelling moment, uh, telling people how I got here, or something that, made me grow, or the time where I didn't believe in myself enough, and then a mentor supported me. Those usually are the posts that I do. But for the purpose of what I do now, I kind of switch that. If I feel like posting and I feel like writing, I'll post. I don't care if I do three posts a day. Sometimes that happens to me on a weekend. I don't know why. But what I do mostly is I do newsletters. And the reason why I do newsletters instead of posts is, one, because it's a little bit more long format. So I'm hoping that I'm delivering some value and some samples on my work with it. Also because I like to see who signs up for these newsletters, right? And it helps me filtering my 8,000 plus followers. So not everybody will sign up. People that they sign up, uh, for once, the active members, because they said yes. And two, they said yes also to the type of newsletter that it was. So I know that they might be interested in what they're reading. And also about posting and newsletters, all the likes and all the things that not everybody, people read, but they might not like it, right? Not because they hated it, just because they don't like engaging and loving and doing all those things. And the commenting, maybe they don't want to comment, they just want to absorb for themselves. So there are a lot of silent content consumers that will follow you, that will read your post, uh, they'll silently like it. They'll read your article and your newsletter, and then they'll make a comment every 6 months, and then all of a sudden they'll send you a message, I want to work with you. That happened to me. That happens to me actually quite often. And that's why I do now value, I mean, I always loved writing, but I value the purpose of the newsletter. Doing a newsletter is something that I recommend to everybody that has something valuable to say. And I recommend it not because, oh, go ahead and create a bunch of AI newsletters. It's because it's really a sample of your work. And again, it gives you a different level of personal connection with the people that you're writing for. So, I might be in an event, a topic might come up, that might be the topic of my next newsletter. And the other thing is sometimes you might compare yourself to people that are posting, and there's 300 people liking it and this many comments on it, right? But if you really look, you'll notice that all those likes and those comments, they happen within the next 10-15 minutes of the post going live. And if you really read those comments, you can see that those are not real comments. They're really artificially boosted comments. I'm not saying that it's everybody, but a lot of it is like that. And those are engagement pods. So please, if you're comparing yourself to somebody, don't compare yourself to the engagement pods, people that have all these likes and things, or people that have 200,000 followers. Of course, they'll get a little bit more engagement. They have bigger accounts, but also they have collectives and other things, and this particular closed up community with a paid membership. So you'll notice that the people that are liking and commenting, they're the same people over and over and over and over. Does that give a little bit of visibility and more visibility to your content? Yes, it does, because it kind of signals the algorithms and those things, right? But in the end, I know people that have hundreds of thousands of followers and they barely take in $2,000 a month out of all these impressions. So it's not that. It could be that you post something and only 10 people liked it, and only one person is actually relevant to you, but you engage with that person, and then over time, things don't happen immediately. Over time, something happens. Or it could be that you're paying attention to who looked at your profile today and you're saying hello, or you're paying attention to the new 5 subscribers in your newsletter and who they are, and you're saying hello, or you're just asking people, what are you working on? So it's a mix. It's genuine conversation. If produced content is this, if that's your thing, right? So some people was like, I don't want to write newsletters. I can only do them with AI. Well, then newsletter is not your thing, you know. I don't want to be on camera because I don't think I look good on camera, or I'm shy. Well, then it's not your thing, but maybe try it and you'll get more comfortable over time. I don't want to be a TikTok video person. Then don't go on TikTok, right? Choose the format that at the beginning makes you feel the most comfortable. When I started out, I was comfortable with nothing. So I was just quoting some of my favorite authors on a post-it and saying something that I thought about it, just really, really small, and telling people, let's talk, and not my picture either, just a little emoji that looked kind of like me. So, but even that got some people to respond to me. People say, oh, I love Maya Angelou too, And that's how little by little conversation started.
Christina, can I just say something? This so reminds me. I mean, we're going back eons now, before LinkedIn, and in a much previous job and a previous role. But I used to go into companies when they were failing and try to turn them around. And I went into this particular company and they were selling an Australian product. and I hope no one's squeamish here, but anyway, the point was it was a heel balm they were selling, and on the packaging was a picture of a really lovely heel, right? You turn the box over and there's this heel that is all scabby and like almost decomposed, right? And it was like, use this heel balm and you will get a foot like this. So turn the box over, right? A little bit like we're saying LinkedIn can be. So I walked in and they said, look, in Australia, we sell thousands of this. The highest selling product over there is in Australia. Why is it that the UK won't buy it? And I looked at the guy and I said, because of that picture. And he said, what's wrong with the picture? I said, well, who wants to go through the sales desk of a supermarket where you've got a beautiful girl sitting there, you know, swiping it through, and you look like a fairly decent 30-something lad with scabby heels, right? Because you've got the picture of this thing in your bag going, oh, scabby heels. You know, you're just giving this impression of this is the gorgeous Mr. Look at Me, Mr. Universe with the scabby heels. So the guy who was the managing director said to me, but it's not a problem in Australia. I said, well, maybe Australia have got a different appetite for this kind of thing, but the UK, that's not going to work. So know your market, right? This isn't going to work. You need to put a band around it and change the image and whatever. But I don't understand you Brits, you know, what's wrong with you? You don't grow of hair, you know. Ugh. And I said, listen, do you want my help or don't you? Because if we don't turn this around, you ain't got a business. And he was like, oh, okay, we'll get a sleeve made, we'll get it changed, whatever. And I said, just understand, okay, there are many people who have hemorrhoids, and you can get hemorrhoid cream, but we don't put a picture on the box, do we? Well, the guy roared with laughter, just like you just threw his head back. First time he'd laughed through the whole of my hour and a half with him. He went, okay, I'll take your advice. We put the sleeve on the case, we sold the stock through, and in future it was sold as the heel balm that had the pretty heel on it, and that was how it was sold. Take that exact example into LinkedIn, right? Do we want to say, right, that we can fix the scabby heel? Well, we probably can. But do we need to display the scabby heel to fix it? No. We need to know your problems. We need to know what kind of solutions we can bring to your problems. But we need to understand that in order for us to do that, you've got to do warts and all. You've got to show us what your problem is to the nth, you know? If you really are struggling, you're struggling. If you don't have any customers, be honest. Say, I can't pay the bills if I don't get some customers. We need to do some serious digging to find the customers as quickly as we can so that we start having a revenue stream. Don't come to the meeting going, oh yeah, I've got customers coming at me ears, when you haven't. Because again, it's about this being genuine, you know? Don't kid yourself. Have the scabby heels by all means, but don't tell us, you know, tell us in the meeting about the scabby heels, but we will deal with it as if you've got nice shiny heels and we'll move through. We don't need to work with the picture of the scabby heels. We need to know everything about the problem so we can come up with a solution. And everything you just said to me is exactly that. You know, if you're going to do a newsletter, don't just press AI and ask it to print one, because it's pointless. And I think that what you're saying is so right. It's about, you know, take Christine's advice because she knows what she's talking about. You know, you can go on an AI machine, it will tell you how to sell the scabby heel cream. It won't work because it won't understand humans. Because we are them. End of.
Thank you for that. And about AI, it's 2026. We're not saying don't use AI, but use it as a tool. If you want to write a newsletter and you want to make sure that there's no spelling mistakes, the grammar is all right, and you want it polished, great. But write it, and then give the prompt to keep your tone, keep your voice. Uh, just be the editor to the line editor to make sure you didn't miss something. Uh, and that's it. Or maybe even ask it, use it as a brainstorming tool, because these are my thoughts, these are the newsletter that I'm doing. Am I missing something? What are the topics could I add that complement it, and then go and use it. So that's the way to use AI. Or use AI if you want to create some an image, an actual picture for your post that might represent your style, what you want to describe. Use it creatively. For example, this thing on the back of me is AI generated, right? But it's the cover on one of my books, and I wanted to symbolize growth, or you looking at yourself, after you bounce back out of something. So, and of course, it's why does it look like that? Because those are some of the things that I like steampunk, and I like Victorian style and all that kind of stuff. So I prompted it to be created the way I closed my eye and I envisioned it, but I'm not a painter and I couldn't do it. So I asked specifically for it to give me that kind of feeling, right? So that's the correct way, the best way, I think, to use AI to enhance your brand. So I'm not saying be at a disadvantage, do everything manually, but don't just type something, close your eyes, good enough, cut and paste. That's not gonna work. And you have to get there. If you're starting out, if it's the first time that you use AI, you'll probably be amazed that you write something and it keeps just writing in front of you, and you think, oh, easy done, easy peasy. I'm gonna be a book publisher, write 1,000 books and just get them all on Amazon, right? And people are doing that. But whether the whoever is purchasing those books is satisfied or not, that's another story.
Yeah, they're definitely doing that every day. AI is, I don't know. I've stopped thinking what people are doing with it. They are, everyone's, I can't read anything. I haven't read a post that's not AI written recently. That's shocking. Because AI is not you, right? AI is not going to help you position yourself. And once people realize that there's AI written content, they don't just turn off. They turn off in a big way. If you're ever going to get it back, I don't know. So it's be wary what you put out there. I agree with that. I think also dare to create your own stuff. And at the heart of being positioned or getting positioned, Christina, is simply that we have to have our own unique thing. You mentioned it just now, right? I say create your unique way of doing what you do. Now, what is your unique way? Because that's what people are buying. That's what people want. That's what makes you better than the next person. And if you can't create your own unique way, I fear for you, because you're just essentially you're competing, and when you compete with others, it means that everyone's in a race to the bottom. Because when we're competing to make money, it means I have to charge less than you, and offer more, and that's unsustainable. If they're competing as well, then they're going to reduce their price even more, and then overpromise. Paulette mentioned don't overpromise earlier. I'm saying, we have to show up as ourselves, be ourselves, but come with the real. We're all unique. If you think about it, really, it's when we tap into that uniqueness. And I remember our description, Christian. You said this is the bit that we own. Now, there's a bit of our business that's us, uniquely us. Is this part? But if you don't identify what that part is, you can't deliver it. You can't leverage it. You can't use it to help your customers, right? We have to learn, who are we really? What do we bring? And once you know, I can tell you, once you find that thing, hold on to it and run with it and build on it like you've never had before. You know, I spent years doing marketing, social media posts and emails and all the likes, right? I wasn't unique. I was doing what everyone else was doing. As soon as I found publishing, I found a way to, you know, to really live, you know, to tap into what I enjoyed doing, what I love doing, what my clients want done. You know, but you know, I think this is the other bit of is, you know, this is personal branding, really. You know, it's a branding for your business, right? You know, someone asks, "What do you do?" A lot of people will tell you what they do, the technical side. I publish books, right? But you know, but that's not it. That's really not it. You know, so I'm looking at you. I'm looking at Paulette. I'm looking at those in the audience, right? You know, there is an extra that we bring that's almost not documented. That's the real trick. That's what people are gonna, you know, take to either love you or loathe you. Maybe in equal measure, they're gonna love you and loathe you, right? Your friends will love you. Those who don't like you are gonna loathe you anyway because, you know, you have that thing, you know, and that's what people want. You know, you told me, Christina, you do more than publishing. It's like you're the coach, you're the inspiration, you're the friend. I'm like, it's true, but you two are too. I'm saying you two are perfect examples, really. You know, I said Paulette might write the Jack and Water books, but it's her heart that everyone sees. It's a kindness that everyone sees. You know, and I'm trying to tell someone today, you don't know who Paulette is, really. So no, you know, why doesn't Paulette do what that person's doing? I'm like, because she's bigger than that person. Yeah, you might think, you know, she's just, you know, just little old Paulette there. I'm like, no, Paulette, you know, no, she brings her special things when she interacts with people, especially on LinkedIn. I say we all do. You know, I know you're a friend to your clients, Christina. So you know, it's not as though I'm talking to something alien, right? You know, here's my point. A lot of people on LinkedIn don't want to be friends with anyone. You know, they want to do business. If that's your mindset, it's not gonna work. You know, we have to find a way to be likable. Likable. People's friends, care about people, empathy, understanding, you know, care. I'm not saying help everyone that Paulette does. I'm saying, but literally, at least be human, right? Be human. You know, be human.
Okay.
Bring your heart, you know, to the conversation. Otherwise, if you don't bring your heart to your business, you're just like everyone else. Now, if you bring your true soul, Paulette mentioned it earlier, authenticity. If you're genuine and you're a genuinely lovely person, people will know, and that's what they want to deal with. Yeah, the rest of it comes on the back of who you are. You know, that's how you get positioned. You know, if you are a total wazzock, is this a British word? Paulette knows what I mean, right? You know, people are not gonna like you. Why should they? You know, they're not gonna trust you either. And without those two things, you haven't got a business. You know, work on the personal side, and then the rest of it you can do. Look, I want to give Cyrus credit because he says that we are being seen right now on his Readers TV. So we're live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and Readers TV. That's a website that he runs, which puts our events on the platform so that those who don't have LinkedIn, those who've been hacked, kicked off LinkedIn, can at least watch our shows on his channel for free. Have I mentioned Curtis? Welcome, Curtis. Great to see you, my friend. Glad you're here. America says, let's see. Now, let's see the live events where you're genuine, connecting with members in real time, talking about your expertise. Don't you see this every day, America? You don't come to my shows, no? There's no AI slop when you're alive. True, true. I don't know. Some people will read. Some will read, you know, and he's like, no, just tell me what you think. Just tell me what you think. You know, don't read. I know what the book says, right? We'll do. You know, so AI is, you know, is our savior, also our nemesis these days. Zara, welcome. There's no what happened there. He hasn't gone. It's not showing. Zara, how you doing? Did you find a missing report? Is that me or Paulette? Anyway, we've been found. Me? Okay. Hello, Sir Stanley. How are you doing? Great to see you. It was great to have you here. That's my cue to play Sir Stanley's, power thinking sponsors video. Excellent. So, and Anna Jemba. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Well, I could just call you Peter. Much easier, right? No, thank you for joining us, everyone. Paulette, can you come on stage? Yes. Do we want to stay much longer? Probably not.
All I was going to say, Annie, the one thing that I would say, and I'm sure that Christina, you take it from here, but I think storytelling, examples, showing people where you've succeeded, the problems you've solved, how you solved them, and with humor and with grace. I think that I can't reproduce that because that's you. And that's what makes you uniquely you. What do you think?
Absolutely. Your own personal story, how you got to where you are. The times when things were not as polished, and you were scrambling for the first client, or the time where you thought your career was at a peak, and all of a sudden you realized that you really craved, working for yourself, and uh, you were not controlling because you had those ideas you wanted to share at work. You really wanted to run the business. So all those times, telling the story of what really happened, why you're here today, why you chose to do this, those are the things that resonate with people. People can see themselves in that. For example, I started buying and selling things online many years ago, and I loved it. But then, after I taught myself those skills, I thought that the next step as an adult is to get a job and get a career. So I built a career in e-commerce all the way up to director and product manager. But as much as I loved it because I'd morphed it to be just the way I liked it, and it felt like my own business, when it came to bigger decisions and ideas that I wanted to implement, there was a lot of red tape and things that, made me look and, reminisce about the days where I find an idea I could just try. And that's how I ended up here. Although I was good, I was happy, I started, coming on LinkedIn and sharing all those ideas that were rejected and found my own audience. And for the longest time, it was a side hustle, right? Although I always thought I should do this, I should find the courage to leave my job. And then the company where I worked, all those leaders went because it merged with another company. And I watched everybody getting laid off. My job changed, but I was still there thinking, is today my last day? But I guess that they wouldn't grace me with that. And I had to find the courage to say, okay, it's time. I've done this long enough. So last August, I looked at what I had. I looked at everything that I'd done, the clients that I currently had, what made me happy, what was working, and I went all in. So it took courage because it's hard to leave a job or a career that you had for 10 years with a salary that is really comfortable and say, I'm just going to scrap it all and go back to when I was in my 30s doing things for myself. Because I'm almost, I'm 48, so I'm not spring chicken. But it took courage, and you can get really used to that salary, and all your passion, all the things that you want to create, it becomes the long distant dream. Oh, maybe if I was younger. No, you got the skills, you got the experience. That's what you monetize. So that's a storytelling piece.
It
And that's
takes.
the bit that AI can't
Mm.
hate because it doesn't know you, you know? And that's the bit that I feel is the genuine bit, you know? And the more that you use that piece of you, that is your equity. That is who you are. And that is what you promote. And then everything comes towards you like a magnet because it attracts people. It attracts the kind of people that go, I like that sort of direct approach, or I like that soft approach, or I like that feisty person, or I like that whatever, you know?
Mm.
Everybody sees something different in somebody, and but it's your equity is who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what you've said, and I think that is the most important thing when you write your newsletters is talk about the stories, tell the funny stories, tell the things that have happened to you over the years that have got you to where you've got to. That leap of faith that you took, that so many people want to take, but are just like waiting to be made redundant, waiting to get that bit of paper, but it might never come. Like you said, you were waiting, it never happened.
It's
So in
like
the end, you
11
just
months.
you wait, you wait, you wait, and it doesn't happen because you're too good at what you're doing. They keep you there, right? So the point is, at a point in life where you have built experience, you've had all these different scenarios that have happened in your life that you can pull on, that you can use to support other people in, but your equity is you, uniquely you, everything that only you have done and everything that only you can retell, not the AI machine. You can tell the AI machine the stories and it can put something together for you, but ultimately it's your story and it's
Mm.
you that you're putting into the AI, not AI. Could you write me something about this? You know, that's the difference.
Mm. No, for sure. Yeah, so for sure, I agree with you there. And I think as well as your stories, the other thing I would say is longevity. Dr. Roxana, welcome. Longevity. And I say we see people every day come on LinkedIn. We'll do, right? And they come on LinkedIn, with a blaze, with blaze of glory. I'm here to save the world, blah, blah, blah. Within 3 months, they're gone. They were never to be seen again. So I think now you have to do what you do consistently, visibly in the right places. Now, I said that these things carefully. Like you have to be talking to the right people, your target audience. Like where are they? And show up, in front of them often and for a long time. Be prepared to do it for a long time. You see, ultimately, here's what happens. Ultimately, I think we stop talking about ourselves. Again, have you noticed today? You haven't said what you do. I know maybe we've mentioned it. I'm saying, it's when others start talking about you that you really see people come to you, right? Whether you call it referrals, whether you call it, I prefer to look at it as it's almost having a presence in a room that you're not in. That's the real joy of business. That's when you get organic traffic. That's when you know you're in the right position. That you position yourself correctly. People talk
I'm
about
really
you in these
sorry,
spaces.
Ellie. I have to go. I've got something I've got to go and do. Take care, everyone. Bye.
That's
Thank
thank you
you.
for joining us. Thank you for joining us. You're a
Cheers.
star.
Bye.
We'll talk later. Bye, Paulette. Bye, Paulette. Yeah. But I suppose the point about longevity, Christina. What do you think of that?
Well, longevity is definitely, you stuck with something that on its own is social proof. Longevity causes you to build long-term relationships that you trust, and we are the perfect example of it. I think it was about August or July where I contacted you after a while saying, hey, you want to do something together, right? But I knew of you. I spoke to you once before or a couple of times. We had connections in common, and you saw me working with other people that you knew, right? So what longevity does, in it's a long game, it builds that trust, or
Mm,
that idea that you might have about somebody, even if you haven't worked with them, and then you get to know them better. But that's what it is. It's legacy, and it's a real footprint where you live.
I agree.
So
I
I
agree.
knew what you did before I ever talked to you because other people were talking about you.
Mm, mm. Yeah. That's why I say, when you can get others talking about you, that's when you're in a happy place. And because let's not underestimate what that means. It means that that person trusts you. It means that they're putting their name down against, as someone who recommends you. He said, that's I built a business pretty much on referrals for years. Yes, I get new clients. Of course, I get new clients, but the referrals, they're magical, because when you get a referral, you haven't got to sell to that person. You haven't got to convince them, because they come warm already. They come wanting to do business with you. By the time they book that meeting with you, they know what they want. They know what you do, and they're ready to say yes if you give them the right cues, the right level of interest, the right. I guess if you show the good side of you, then the more chance they'll say yes. Whereas to get a cold prospect, you have to do the work to sell to them, right? Now, when you get referrals, is when you know that you've truly positioned yourself in the right place. Yeah, but that all comes from just serving people. Serve people, the best you can, and then just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. In the end, you'll be that person who does that, whatever that is, right? It's a son that does power thinking. I'm saying that's what they so we all know that now. So what are you going to be known for? That's a question, right? Christina, so do tell our friends how you help, please.
My forte is getting ideas and businesses off the ground. So if somebody say, I want to start this type of service business or this e-commerce business, I get to know them and I get exactly why they are in it. They're the unique factor that we want to bring into it and help them build a roadmap and a way to monetize it. Because in the end, your business is not linked necessarily. It is how your business functions and operates. Now, I was going to make money. Uh, what it is that you sell of yourself or the product that you sell and to who, and the transformation it delivers. When you can answer those questions, then you can find the audience, or you can find the strategy, and you can find a way to position yourself to be chosen, right? Or you can find yourself a way to build that network that will produce and generate the long gain and eventually referrals and all those beautiful things that we love based on that or what you build. But it could be an idea, it could be an hobby, it could be your lived experience, right? It is all monetizable as long as you really come from a genuine perspective. You know what it is that you do really well that you can do for others, delivering the transformation. And about that, that unique factor that we're talking about, the storytelling factor, people that are in the audience and decided to come to this event today, they're probably already doing that in some form, or they're saying, I've done this for a while, but it's not generating the leads and bringing me the clients that I need. And that is the biggest paradox, right? Uh, when you are on a platform and you're looking for leads out on LinkedIn, you have to follow the platform rules. It's not
Yeah.
your brick and mortar store when you're relying on foot traffic and these are the demographics in the neighborhood. I'm going to get customers here. You have to see what the platform itself requires of you. So we're talking be yourself, write yourself, don't do AI. But then we're saying LinkedIn has AI. LinkedIn reads your post with their large language models, and so your post has to be optimized so that LinkedIn can find it and they can index you properly, right? So that's a rule that you have to follow. It doesn't mean do your post with AI so that LinkedIn can see it. It means your post has a clear title, almost like an article, with the words that are on your profile, with the words that you use over and over and over in all your content, uh, with a category where you categorize yourself and you're using those words in the first 2 or 3 lines. And that's how over time, not tomorrow, within 90 days, now all of a sudden you're operating within the platform, you're being uniquely you, but you are adapting to this the paradox that is this 360 brew, this large language learning model. And so longevity, it's great, but with longevity comes you've been here, you've been doing this here for 10 years, great, but have you adapted? So you have to be able to, if you choose LinkedIn to be your place, you have to adapt to the new things, the new nuances, the rules that are annoying, but they are that. And every platform has that, right? Running to Substack is not going to solve your problem. You go to Substack, it's great. I love it. I've been there for a little bit, but they have their own set of rules that I'm learning and I have to adapt to. It's much easier to converse with people there and have conversations, but the relevancy part is true there too. So you have to nudge something to be relevant and be seen by the right people, and so on for every platform. So adaptability, knowing the platform where you decide to place your business, understand if it's the right platform for it, because it might not be. This might not be the right platform for you, or not with the type of content you're producing now. Maybe you have to adapt your content to be the right platform for you. And really, in the end, what is your business? How does your business make money? Is there a product? Are you the product? If you're the product, what do you do? If you're selling a product, what does the product do? Those are the questions.
Yeah.
LinkedIn or outside of LinkedIn, and then
Yeah.
really understand. You say, I'm going to have my own website. Great. How are you going to bring traffic to it? Right? So then you're like, oh, I'm going to do it with social media. Well, then you have to play by the rules. You have to adapt and see how you're going to do it.
Yeah, and work hard. You have to, put the work in, before you start seeing the results. But once it's like a tap. Once you open the tap, maybe nothing comes out. But once the tap starts flowing, then it's almost unstoppable, right? That's the idea. And I remember thinking a year ago when things that are taken off for me, my business, and I thought, can this really carry on? A year later, I say I've got more books to publish now than ever before. I've got more in pipeline. So yes, it can carry on, but you have to, you have to do the work to get to turn that tap, and then from there everything just flows. Prue, I say thank you for joining us. I'll message you. Then we have to reschedule our meeting. So thank you for joining us indeed, Christina. We have to go sometime, right? So now you've told them what you do. So you know where to go. So I'm no business coach. Christina is closer to a business coach than me, but I think she's more than a business coach. But if you want to start that new business of yours, to escape the 9 to 5, talk to Christina. We've got more plans to help people anyway, so you'll find that soon.
And business is not cold, right? So you made me think yesterday when you told me, oh, you're more than a business coach. So I thought, oh, you must mean that I'm a superstar because you keep calling people
You
superstar.
are.
But no, it's not that. Business is not called. So you cannot just say a business coach and give somebody these are the steps, do this, do that, implement it. You really have to guide them through. You're really a teacher. And one thing that a teacher can do more than anything is inspire and motivate,
Yeah.
and keep giving that nudge that the person that is learning gets to where they need to be on their own, right? They have the energy, because without energy there is no business. You have to find your energy, and you have to unearth the belief in yourself. That it's so easy to lose the belief in yourself. Something goes wrong, something goes bad, you get low impressions, you get discouraged, and you don't do that one thing that might change everything. So it's a longevity, consistency, long game, finding the right group of people to talk to that keep elevating you when you need it.
Yeah. Again, so I agree with you 100%. I think, you know, we can't afford to let negativity get in our way. I think, when you lose, the way you describe it, say the things that we have to do to help our clients, it goes for everyone who's here, right? If you really want to build a business, you have to be willing to go the extra mile for your clients. So I talk to my friends about what I call the X factor. What is your X factor? What is your thing? What's the thing that you bring that others are not willing to do? It's sometimes they look at me as if I'm speaking Italian, I'm speaking French, I don't speak either of those languages, right? I said, but what I mean is this: look, yes, you do what you do, but unless you can help your clients to achieve their goal, it's pointless. I say that whatever that means many things in different ways, right? For some people, it's hand holding, as you mentioned, Christina. For other people, it's finding the solution that's missing. Yes, of course, I want to help you write your book, publish your book, but then now I realized I'm going to have to help you sell the book too. Because that's a missing bit. I don't want you coming to me, publishing, I paid for me to publish a book, and then you say, but Enya, I didn't sell a single copy. I'll do what it takes, and I say even guarantee to help you sell a lot of books, at least on the launch day. And then say, now I'm doing author speakers to put my authors on stages. That way they can sell more books and get more credibility. And I'm saying everyone here has to have the same idea, surely, in business. You're forever thinking, how can I help my clients achieve their goal? And do what that involves. That's what makes you unique. Otherwise you'd be like everyone else, right? And don't be like everyone else. You live your unique way. That's your God-given gift to be in business, because that's what we all have, really.
I see that in you.
Right. Don't let negativity come in your way. Once you lose that passion for your business, once you lose passion for your customers, passion for what you do, even if it's only 1% of doubt in your mind, oh, I'm not sure I want to do it today, people will know and they will run a mile. They really, I think, who you do business with. You don't go you don't shop with negative people. You don't shop with negative businesses. You want people who are excited, happy to be there, and the value. You mentioned it earlier, Chris. When we get to work with someone, it's a privilege. We have to embrace that privilege and be very careful how we hold that privilege. And so that again, I know we can't give you a perfect formula today, but hopefully, you can go away and think, how do I apply any of these things that we're saying? And say when you do, your business will be transformed. You'll be happier, you'll be richer, and more importantly, you get to do business your way. That's the key here, right? When you can wake up and do things your way, the way you created. I tell you, this is why I live so happily, Christina, because I do stuff I want to do, and the word says, "Any, we like it." I'm like, really? You go with it. So that's life, right? We can all do the same. We have to. Go on, Christina.
But you're the perfect example of the type of business you do. You get people to build their authority through publishing books, right? But it's not just that. You're not doing a writing seminar so that they can become writers. Most likely, if people want to write something, they already have an idea or something in mind. So you connect them with somebody that is an editor that actually can make their book readable, and that's the quality right there. Then you give them a platform where they can talk about their ideas and their philosophy, and then you do your marketing magic, making actually the book become a bestseller. And it doesn't stop there; it continues. Now they're part of your network. You tell people that this book. You do events with them to keep on selling these books. Maybe creating the sequel to that book, right? Or a better version of it next time. And the authority keeps building and building and building on. And more often than not, your clients they're not just writers. The book complements their brand, and so it's a win-win. So yeah, you're not just a book publisher. So
But exactly that. I think you're right. You're definitely right on that one. I think we all need to have that view of our clients. They're dependent on us, and it's about doing what others are not willing to do. Again, they're getting known for being that person who does all that and more. So maybe so the last I'll say today, Christina, is that it's not what we do. It's not what we say. It's what others say about us that really positions us. If you get others talking about you in the right way, and in these rooms, I see people all the time. They say good words about us, right? And I think for for many people in the audience, and even some of those on stage, I think I've rarely heard a good word said about you. What is missing? It's a genuine question. Why are they talking about you? I'll let you go away today, my friends, and ask yourself that question. If they're talking about you, build on it. If they're not talking about you, ask yourself why not, and do what it takes to get them to talk about you. Simple as that. you're the star of the show, Christina. Look, my friend.
I loved it though. I loved it. Ask yourself why.
So we're back again in 2 weeks' time. Of course, do connect. Connect with us, connect with friends, and in the audience as well. And get in touch. Let's make this year the year that we actually get stuff done. If you're thinking of making that change, make the change. Just have a plan. Talk to Christina and at least create a plan. Create a strategy is what I call it, right? And have a conversation, and that way you have some direction and some sort of. I think Paulette called this assets earlier. You need certain things in place before you can go jumping. Otherwise, you can just jump and make a parachute on the way down. Yeah, don't do that. Talk to Christina first. She'll give you a parachute. It's much easier, right? You gotta do is open it. No, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here. Look, I can never thank you enough. You always make my day. You too, Christina, for all the gems you share with us. Well done, you. Let me try to stand this video. Anything you want to say before we go, Christina?
No, thank you everybody for taking the time to join us. I see some people here that I was chatting with them last night, so I'm really glad they actually, showed up. Here, they're getting and thank you, Annie, for showing up consistently. Now we also know many of these. So it started with an idea and they kept on going. So what we're doing here, we're trying to share some tips and tricks, right? And delivering value. So I hope we achieve that goal today.
We do that every time. Thank you so much, Christina. So take care, everyone. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Same time, different topic. So I'm going to end with Power Thinking's video. Just download the app. Listen, if you've got a phone, scan the QR code. Otherwise, work out how to watch the replay and then scan the QR code and download the app. And mindset in bite-sized chunks is what Power Thinking is. Anyway, take care, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
It's time to change the way you think. Download the new Power Thinking Corp app, available now in your app store.
Yay. Okay.